do a real quick intro to the Macintosh operating system. Some of you may have never used a Mac before, so I just want to kind of give you some tips, things to watch for. When you sit down at the Mac, you'll have to log in as a user, and for the first day of class, you'll need to have a user account set up. Andy, our supplemental instructor, can help you with that. So once we get your account set up on that Mac, you'll need to use that Mac every time. That will be your Mac for the semester, basically. But once that's done, you'll log in. You'll see a login screen at startup, and then you should come to something that looks like this. Across the top, you'll see a hard drive. If you've plugged in your USB stick, and it'll be somewhere in the back of the Mac, there'll be a USB port. You plug it in, your USB stick will show up here. That's where you really want to try to save most of your stuff. At least by the end of class, make sure you've got a copy on a USB stick. That way you've got a copy that doesn't live only on the iMac. But you'll see something like this when you first start up or log into the Mac. What you may or might not see is across the bottom of mine, it's empty. If I hover down here, I'll see a row of icons. These are icons that I can access applications with. Now on the Macs in the lab, this may be set up to always be there. So you may see this, like the way mine disappears and enlarges. That's personal setup I've got on mine. The ones in the lab, I don't remember. They may be set up to just always show these icons. But what you do is this is where you go to launch an app that you're going to use. So what you should be looking for is the first app we're going to be using for the class is Adobe Illustrator. So you'll find the Adobe Illustrator icon down here. What you do is you would click on that, and that will launch the Mac or launch the application. It might take a second or two, depending on how fast the Macs are running, but you would click, you'll see it bounce quickly, and then the startup screen will show. So that's how you're gonna open any app you need. And if you don't see an app you need down here, what you can do is there is an icon called Launchpad. You can click there, and then you can click and drag to the left and right, and it'll show you what all apps you have. Or you can search up in the top. So I can search for Adobe, and it'll show all of the Adobe software. And then I can just, again, click on it here, and it'll open it up. The other app you may need right away is the web browser. I think those Macs are set up to use Safari. Again, you should see an icon for Safari down here. What you do is the same thing. You'll click on that, and it'll open Safari up as your web browser. If they've loaded Chrome on there, you may see the icon for Chrome. You can click on that. And again, if you can't find either of those, you can go to the Launchpad and type in Safari, and it'll isolate it, and you can click from there and start it up. So that's how you're going to open apps inside the Mac, which is a little bit different than a PC, I guess, or at least it looks different in the way you get to it. The next thing you're going to want to do is you need somewhere to save your work to. So what you need to do is create a folder and put that somewhere. You'll have two options probably here to start with, and again, I'm not sure how the Macs in the lab are set up. What you can do is go to File up at the top, do a new folder. A new folder icon will pop up somewhere on your desktop by default, I believe. If you triple click on Untitled Folder, you can start typing. So you can type your name, and I would type your name, and I would also type the class. So this is Graphic Design 1, that's what I would type. Hit the Enter key, and that's rename the folder. You can also right click on a folder and click on Rename if you want to do that. Then when it's highlighted in blue, you can just start typing. So any files that you create, you want to save to this folder. And I'll show you how to do that once we get into using Illustrator. What you also can do is on your USB stick, this is probably a better option, as long as you can always keep it with you, is to create a folder on that, and you would do it the same way. I've already got a Stanley Graphic Design 1 folder there. If I want to create a new folder inside the USB stick, I would double click it to open the window, and then go to File, go to New Folder, and it puts one there. And I can again click on that and rename it. It's called the Stanley Graphic Design Topics, and I can save it there. So I can save all my files directly to the USB stick. Okay. Something else I can do is, rather than go up here, if I just have this window open, I can right click, do New Folder. So a couple ways you can do that. So you close that. And again, this is close and minimize. If you minimize the window, it drops down to the bottom. You can click to open it back up. Green will fill up the whole screen. I'm just showing you this in case you accidentally hit one of those. Red will close that window. Okay. Now what you can do if you want to work on the hard drive, so you've created this folder and you're saving stuff to that, that's actually saving it here to the Macintosh hard drive. It's probably okay to do that, but just realize that that is on this hard drive, and sometimes the computers might fail and you would lose everything on the hard drive. You can work that way, but then like get in the habit of at the end of class, when you're finished, you've saved everything, you can copy your file, your folder or your files from here onto your USB stick, and you can copy the whole folder. It will replace the one on the USB stick and everything in it, or you could just open your folder and grab any file you might have and then drop it into the corresponding folder on your USB stick. Okay. So again, this is something that Andy will be able to help you with while he's there on site with you. And it's nothing difficult, but if you've never used a Mac before, it just looks a lot different than a Windows machine sometimes, and you can be a little confused as to where things are. The other thing is, when you're finished, you're leaving class for the day, what you want to make sure you've done is, instead of just pulling the USB stick out, you want to eject it. If you just pull the USB stick out, it can trash all the info, all the file info, and ruin your files. It happens, so what you want to do is just highlight by clicking your USB stick, and then you can right click on your mouse and eject the USB stick. I believe you can also go to, with it selected, you can go to the file menu and eject it here, or you can hit the Command E key on your keyboard, and that will also eject it. And when you do that, it will disappear from your desktop, and then you can remove it from the Mac. So it's just the basic intro to the Mac. It's not too difficult, but I wanted to show you for those of you who've never used a Mac before. Thanks.